Hey everybody, I'm Katallina, and today we're here to talk about episode 14 of Mission Yozakura Family. As I sat and watched this week's episode, I was doing a bit of thinking, and I think I've reached a bit of a theory, and I'm quite excited about this actually. My theory is that no matter how much that Kyoichiro wishes that he could get rid of Taiyo, or that something would happen to Taiyo, or that Taiyo would disappear, or that Taiyo and Matsumi would get a divorce, or any number of other things that would take Taiyo out of the picture, the reality of the situation actually is that the more crazy-ass things that Kyoichiro pulls Taiyo through and makes him do and does to him, whether it is the torture crap, whether it is what we see in this week's episode with the torpedoes, or any number of other things, the more of that crap that Kyoichiro actually does, the stronger he makes Taiyo, both as a protector and a partner for Matsumi, but also in just being able to look after himself and stay alive in general, preventing the ideal situation for Kyoichiro, which would be Taiyo dying in some way that was not Kyoichiro's fault, from actually occurring. Think of something like Johnny Cash as a boy named Sue, but instead of it being a father and a son, think of it being a brother-in-law who for whatever reason does not want you marrying his sister. In this case, Siscon. But anyway, the reality is that I think that Kyoichiro might actually be his own worst enemy and his own undoing in this situation, and I think that's super amusing. What makes this section of the show actually work so well, as I've said in episodes past, is the reality that despite the fact that Kyoichiro has definitely put Taiyo into an insane situation where he's dealing with multiple people trying to attack him, he is fishing and he pulls up somebody out of the water. That was crazy. He's dealing with an incoming torpedo and he's riding it, and he's using Kyoichiro's grappling stuff to be able to actually get a hold of it. Is that the stuff is so absurd and so silly and so insane that instead of being terrifying, it comes across as funny. And despite the fact that Kyoichiro obviously wants Taiyo out of the picture, the tone and the silliness of his behavior actually make it seem a lot less threatening and make the whole situation come out as much more comedic. And it's really noticeable in this episode in particular how this situation with Kyoichiro is so much more funny and lighthearted despite the insane things going on the screen, in comparison to the later fight where Taiyo is taking on somebody from Tenpopo who is trying to ensure that he can't get a hold of the doctor from last week, whom he's trying to corner because of the situation with Matsumi. So that was definitely something that I noticed and that definitely grabbed my interest. And I was almost ready to just totally give Kyoichiro a pass until he has a conversation with Futaba and she is like, I know you're up to something. Which, of course, brought my suspicions right back up. Which is crazy because, I started the series super liking Kyoichiro, and then certain things have happened where I'm like, oh boy, you are just way too over the top. And then this episode, despite the insanity, I'm like, okay, maybe there is a reason, and I stand by my theory at the start of the video, but I think I was getting a bit too soft on him, and I love how they kind of just have her slide in to say, hey, you might want to be careful about that. As for the second half of the episode and the confrontation between Taiyo and the Tenpopo people, I thought that was really cool too, because it led in with humor and silliness in the attempts that he makes to get into the room, whether that is getting punched by a secret component in an elevator or falling 40 feet into a swimming pool because somebody was having a confrontation that had nothing to do with him. And I did have to laugh at the interjection of the woman talking to the old man and being like, the only reason I'm with you is for stuff. It's like, ooh, that was brutal. And the way that the glass just shattered and sent Taiyo flying. I will say though, for anyone who doesn't know this for whatever reason, holy crap, never count on water to save you like that from a long drop. That is not how that works. Just yikes. But it's a cartoon staple, so we'll roll with it. And then actually to the situation where he gets in, which I loved and was my favorite. It almost became the thumbnail, and that is where he disguises himself as the pet. How the hell did he manage to disguise himself as a pet? I get it when he can disguise himself as like an old man or a woman or another person or whatever, but this time it was like, I don't remember whether it was a cat or a dog. It was just like, how the hell did he do that? That was great. And I mean, it was super interesting because we also get to see in the fight that ensues from this, how this doping agent made from the Yozakura's blood actually works, and just how dangerous this potentially is. I mean, it's bad enough and dangerous enough that it's putting Mutsumi's life in danger, but seeing just how much of an impact it actually has when Taiyo is trying to fight the guy, and this is just an average guy who's been doped up with it. Like, holy crap, it's like night and day different. It's another situation where it shows that the Yozakuras are basically superheroes, but they have spy techniques instead of traditional superpowers. And it was really interesting. Lastly, of course, we do need to speak briefly about that amazing cliffhanger ending. We haven't had too many of those in this series, but this one was an absolute wow fest. And the way that Shinzo came in and actually dealt with everything was really cool. And seeing that they are still dealing with this guy and with his abilities and everything, and now at least Taiyo has some help, is definitely an interesting way to end an episode, and it definitely makes me wonder what will actually happen next week. But I can tell you that I totally loved this episode. I thought it was super fun, and I had a great time watching it. But I'd love to know what you guys thought, so leave a comment below and let me know, and I'll talk to you in the next video. See you later. Bye!